Hey there, Rub-a-Dub subs, it's Blackmetalwerewolf making a brand new video for you this week. And this week, we're going to be talking about something that's a little touchy, and that is politics. Now, probably not the way you think, because I really don't want to get too political on you guys. I'm sure you get enough of that in your everyday life. Over the past year, you haven't been able to go to any social media site, news outlet, newspaper, or person in average day life without them giving you their fucking opinion on politics, whether you ask for it or not. Now, I don't want to force my politics on you guys, because I believe you have the right to choose whatever you want to believe in, and I have the right to choose whatever I want to believe in. But I want to talk about political correctness versus heavy metal. Now, political correctness is one of those things I am dead set against. I do not believe that we as a society should have to ban, or in some cases outlaw, words, phrases, jokes, TV shows, movies, music, anything like that. The way I figure it is, if you are so fucking sensitive that a word or a joke will send you into a catatonic state that you can't get out of bed, well, that's really not my problem. It's not your problem, it's not his problem, it's not her problem, it's not the president's problem, it's not some guy working at a fucking gas station's problem. It's no one's problem but yourself. The way the world works is, the way I figure it is, if you don't like something, you don't have to read it, you don't have to listen to it, you don't have to watch it, you don't like it, fucking just tune it out, man. There are plenty of shit, that I see and hear that I don't like, but I just keep my mouth shut because you know what? I'll let it slide off my back. Who gives a fuck? It really doesn't affect me that much in my everyday life. I know at my job there's always these two idiots that are always spurting their political opinions in the break room. Of course, you shouldn't be doing that in a place of work anyway, but they do it, and I do not agree with them at all. But I just keep my mouth shut because, you know what, them spouting their communist manifesto doesn't turn me into a commie. I certainly don't agree with it, but hey, I suppose they do have their right to freedom of speech. I just don't agree with it. Whatever, no big deal. But what happens when you try to apply something like political correctness to such an extreme genre of music like heavy metal? Well, you get fucking tragedy is what you get. Now, one of the things I love about heavy metal is that you get subject matter in it that you will not get anywhere else. In heavy metal, you can talk about, well, pretty much anything you want. Be it rape, war, murder, suicide, Satanism, anything you want, really. In heavy metal, it kind of seems to me that everything is fair game. If you want to write a dark song about someone killing themselves, man, you can fucking do it and someone will dig it. And probably that's one of the reasons why heavy metal isn't on the radio, because the radio wants to pander to a gigantic audience to get as many viewers in. Okay, that makes sense. I'm not blaming them for it. And maybe a song about suicide will alienate some people. Perfectly fine with that. Now, what happens when you take political correctness and try to throw that on an extreme subgenre that wants to talk about anything they want? Well, then you start watering down the brand. So why would anybody listen to heavy metal then? It would just be no different than Katy Perry or Lady Gaga. They'd be boring, bland, watered down nonsense that we already don't want to listen to. And that's one of the reasons there is an audience for heavy metal, because it's the people who don't want to listen to that watered down nonsense. Like, okay, I want something more extreme, bigger, badder, darker, heavier, faster. The shit that you don't get on the radio or you won't usually get on television. So, of course, putting extreme political ideas that would restrict people's ideas, speech, all artwork, all these things, it would totally destroy it. Can you imagine a Cannibal Corpse album where they couldn't talk about death? No one would fucking buy that, let me tell you. That's one of the main reasons people go there, is because it is so dark and gritty and, gross. But what happens when you take away the darkness, the grit, and the grossness? Well, then you have nothing. That would totally destroy it. Now, I'm not saying that I really do... I'm not saying I feel that it's going to happen, but I do feel that some people are trying to make it happen. But, I don't know if you guys remember, a couple months ago with the band Marduk, they were doing their tour, and Black Lives Matter and Antifa got on their case. And I believe they actually ended up having to cancel one of their shows because of these thugs. Long story short, Black Lives Matter and Antifa accused Marduk of being a hate band. They were Nazis. They started all these online protests, and if I remember correctly, they even started an actual protest that ended up having a show getting canceled. So, clearly there are people who feel that they know what's better for you. Of course, what they were saying was completely inaccurate. Marduk isn't actually like that. They perceived them that way, therefore they thought they had the right to stop them from performing. Sounds pretty goddamn ridiculous, don't you think? So it's very clear that there are people who are trying to put a stop to this, who see heavy metal as a beacon of anything you want, like anything goes really, and they say, we don't like that. They talk about things that trigger us, so let's put a stop to it. No. Nah, that's not how a fucking free country works, bitch. There's another thing I noticed over the summer, since the summer is festival seasons, obviously, for hard rock and heavy metal, is that there were some political groups trying to use heavy metal festivals to push their political agenda, which I thought was completely ridiculous. One of the things is I saw this article that some activist groups were saying to heavy metal festivals, saying you guys need to sign more bands that are fronted by women and more bands of people of color. Now, the people who organized the festival, I'm paraphrasing, flat out said, we'd be more than happy to do that if bands like that brought in gigantic crowds. Because obviously when you're running a festival, you want to bring in big crowds, because big crowds bring in big money. Makes sense, doesn't it? So a band like, say, Iron Maiden would bring in 10,000 people, whereas some lesser-known band would bring in, I don't know, 100? Who obviously you're going to choose here? The one that's going to bring in 10,000 people, because 10,000 people spend tens of thousands of dollars. So it really irritates me that there's legitimate activist groups who are saying, we want you to use our political agenda, but you put your money on the line. Dude, if you want to have a fucking festival that features female-fronted bands and people of color, by all means, go ahead. I'm not stopping you. I don't think a lot of people really give a shit. If that's the way you want to hold your festival, go for it. It's a free country. Feel more than welcome to do it. But use your own money to do it. Don't say, you have to do that because I say so. It's like, no, I'm not risking my money for your political agenda. Regardless if I believe in it or not, I don't believe that my money should be used for your political agenda unless I offer it to you. Don't come around saying, oh, you should do this because the only reason I want to do something is because I want to do it. Not because you're trying to guilt me into it by saying, oh, you want to be progressive, right? I'll choose what I want to do with my fucking mind. Thank you very much. I do think this whole thing is pretty scary, knowing that there are legitimate activist groups out there who are trying to water down heavy metal to fit their political needs. I think it is disgusting. I think it's ridiculous, but I don't think they'll succeed. I think there are far too many strong-willed people in heavy metal that would say, no, we're not buying into this. This is not what heavy metal is about, and we're not going to let that happen to it. Don't get me wrong, I suppose if some band wants to go down the politically correct route, they're more than welcome to, but to me, I would see that as a sellout move, trying to just get in the pockets of certain political groups to sell records or to get advertised online or in newspapers or whatever. I think that if it does happen, it would be gigantic financial failures. That's just the way I see it. But what do you guys think? Do you think that I'm being a little paranoid about the whole situation, or do you think that these groups are out there to try to water down heavy metal for political correctness? Do you think that it will work? Personally, I don't, but do you think it will? I don't know. I want to get your guys' opinion. Leave a comment letting me know. So, like my past videos, I either do an album recommendation or an album warning, and this one is another recommendation. The band is Blessed Curse. The EP is Beware of the Night. It's a very good thrashy album. If you have a chance to pick this up, I definitely suggest that you do. I think you'll really like it. Not to mention, that cover art is badass. So that's it for today's video. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment letting me know what you thought of today's video, and check out some of my past videos while you're at it. If you want to keep up with me on a more daily basis, you can follow me on Instagram and on Facebook. I also have a P.O. box open, so if you'd like to write me a letter, feel free to do so. I have a few Black Metal Werewolf patches left. I think I only have about 10 left. So if you want to get one, there are a few left, you're more than welcome to. You can just click over here, or there will be a link in the description. So overall, thank you very much for watching, guys, and stay brutal.